Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode review of The Bad Batch. Today, we're taking a look at Season 2, Episode 5, Entombed. And right off the bat, once again, I have to apologize about this being a day late. I have a better reason for this being a day late than last time where I just forgot about it. This time, I fully remembered that I needed to do this and get it out on a Monday. But, it's I work the night shift, and I got home and it's all snowy and icy and stuff where I live. So that kind of added to the stress of the night shift that I normally have because it's the night shift. So I get home and I have something to eat. I'm just kind of happy to be alive, so to speak, and I'm just like, you know what, I'm gonna lay down for a couple minutes after now that I've got a full belly and everything. So I went and I got on my bed and I laid down and I started scrolling through my phone, and the next thing I know, it's 9 hours later. I'm like, oh, it is way too late to record an episode review of The Bad Batch at this point. Now, you might be saying, well, why don't you just record them ahead of time and not on the day of, so that way, even if you do fall asleep, you can just have it scheduled to be uploaded? And my answer to that is a very good idea. I think I might be doing that from now on so this doesn't happen again. So yeah, oops, I apologize for this being late, but I was very tired. I also really wasn't feeling well on top of it. I had little stomach issues as well. So I think my energy was just zapped. Anyway, feeling better. Now to actually talk about the episode. Last week when I did my review for last episode, I said that next week's could be very interesting. Kind of an Indiana Jones type adventure with the Entombed title. And boy, howdy, was I correct in that. I feel like I was more correct than I could even imagine with that, because just on the music front, the music was like going out of its way to sound very Raiders of the Lost Ark-y. Like every time Indiana discovers something, like a very key moment is when he uncovers the real location of the Lost Ark, when he realizes that the Nazis are digging in the wrong place, and he goes and he grabs the Staff of Ra and puts it up, and it's like, oh, this is where, it's like, this is the correct height and everything, and he gets the real location, and that really overpowering music score as the little miniature building burns and everything in the sunlight beam. It's like that. I felt like that Kevin Kiner, the composer, was really laying it on thick with that. It's like every time the Bad Batch did hardly anything to progress their little quest forward, I felt like he was really invoking that classic John Williams Raiders of the Lost Ark type scene right there. And you know what? It almost got a little annoying because, like, what's her face is like, sometimes a door is a door, and it's like, okay, we get it. She opened the door. I mean, it was fun. It was cool. They did that. They had an episode like this where they could kind of pay obvious homage to what they were doing while also, adding to the mythos of Star Wars and everything. But it was just like, okay, maybe you overdid it a teensy bit with the music. So that was kind of funny. But yeah. Speaking of the mythos, it's like really, really interesting things that they're adding, like this great big ancient super weapon that they accidentally unlock, and I feel like that this probably has some connective tissue to Jedi Fallen Order with like the Zepho tombs and stuff in that game, which are some really cool, interesting lore things. I don't really care for the game itself, but some of that stuff that they added is like, okay, this is probably some of the best stuff in the game. I actually do really enjoy this from a lore perspective. Now, did I necessarily enjoy going through those tombs? Not really. But, the idea behind all of them and stuff is like, yeah, no, this is kind of cool. And I feel like this is a very similar. I think people are even comparing the architecture online and stuff and going, yeah, this is really, really close architecturally. This is, very clearly supposed to be like the same group that's made this temple or whatever, where this ancient super weapon is, or at least, they're from a similar era or something. So that was really cool. I'm not really sure what to think of this new character whose name is escaping me at the moment, like most new characters' names do until they show up enough to where I can remember it. Um, her and her little sidekick droid. I'm really not sure what they're adding to the plot quite yet. I'm sure that she's going to be showing up more in this season, and I wonder if this is because unlike last week's with the not pod racing, this episode I could kind of maybe understand people saying, "Well, this is filler," because there wasn't an obvious plot moving forward, and there wasn't obvious like spotlighting character like they did last week with Sid, and Sid being the kind of teasing at future plot and building that up, and then with Tech being the central character of last episode. This one, as of right now, does not have any obvious plot implications, but I'm sure that it probably will have some stuff going forward. Like maybe this character eventually becomes a staunch ally, and it's like some of these experiences with her that that helps shape that. And if we don't have this episode, then that wouldn't feel as strongly connected or something. I don't know. I'm not exactly sure what direction they're moving with her yet. So just for where we are right now, this episode did kind of feel a little fillery. But I really don't think it's going to be filler and the wrong one. We'll just have to wait and see exactly where they're going with this. And if it was just kind of a fun throwaway episode, then it's not bad by any stretch of the imagination. If anything, I really liked Omega in this episode because I commented in the first two episodes that or even it was last episode. I commented on last episode where I'm liking that we're seeing a lot of her character progression, where she's not as wide-eyed and naive anymore. She knows a little bit more. Like she's still a very sweet girl and is wanting to do the right thing and everything, but she's not as naive as she was in those early season one episodes. And while she's not naive in this, I don't think she's really naive in these episodes. In this particular episode, I do think that we see some of that wide-eyed awe that we saw with her early in those episodes that we hadn't seen too much in a while. Because at this point, she's been around a little bit. She's been to a couple different planets, been shot at, almost blown up, almost drowned. A couple other, frankly, traumatizing things have happened to her so far. So in this season and the last. So we lost a little bit of that wide-eyed spectacle that we really saw from her in those early episodes, and I felt like we got some of that back in this episode. I really, really liked that of just this moment of Omega getting to be a kid, which clones in general don't really get. That's something that's robbed from them because they grow up with war being their only way of life. They're being trained to go to war. So getting to be a kid is not something that any of the Bad Batch really got to experience, especially for them because they were weird genetic freak experiments for their childhood. So and I saw other people speculating about this is that their accelerated growth is maybe even enhanced beyond a regular clone, because it's possible that they're not as old as the other clones that like served at they're definitely not as old as the clones that served at Geonosis for that first battle. So it's possible that they were that it was 2 or 3 or 4 years down the line from when the Kaminoans are making this army that I want to call her Kosai, but that's from the Republic Commando novels. Nala Se decides to work on the Bad Batch. So really, yeah, so it's really quite interesting that, and because this whole idea of going on this cockamamie adventure and everything, Hunter is not on board with this idea at all, but he sees how it excites Omega and he kind of gives into Big Brother mode of, okay, let's let her have some fun. And I really liked that. That was a really strong character moment for Hunter. It's that, yeah, this is a bad idea, but Omega could have some fun with it. And, that's what we want for her. It's like this hiding from the Empire and going on these dangerous mercenary missions and everything. It's not what we want for her or us, but we kind of have to do it because that's the situation we're in. So he saw an opportunity to, even if it wasn't something he wanted to do or thought was best, it would still be fun for Omega, and that's something she needs a little bit of every now and then. So really enjoyed that. That was a great little character moment for him. And yeah, it really was just a fun adventure episode. It felt very season 1 of Clone Wars, where they do kind of do these one-off episodes. There's your 22 minutes. The story's over. It doesn't connect to really too much of the larger picture, but it was fun. So yeah, I mean, I don't really have too much else to say about it, except that big super weapon thing. Definitely, I feel like they definitely took some inspiration from the tall necks from Horizon Zero Dawn. I mean, that I remember when the trailer came out, that's like the thing everyone pointed to. It's like, oh, it's a tall neck. So that's kind of funny. And it's funny because sci-fi in general takes so much from Star Wars, so it's interesting to see Star Wars take something back from sci-fi, which is what Star Wars did originally, and so it's influenced so much of sci-fi at this point that now it can take something else back of it. So that was kind of fun. But yeah, it was a fine episode. I'm eager to see where they go with these new characters. There were some fun moments solving the puzzle, the fight with that whatever creature, and Wrecker ended up throwing it out the window. I got a good cackle out of that. Felt sorry for the droid at first, but then she's like, no, I've got its memory backed up. So now my question is next time, is the droid going to be a different model? Like, is it going to be a pit droid or something that she uploads the memory bank into? Like, she technically gets a different droid, but it's the same droid, but the casing is the only thing that changes, because that would actually be kind of funny if that's something that they did. And so, like, the next time that droid shows up, it makes the same sounds or whatever, but it's clearly a different model that just has the same memory banks backed up into it. That I think would be kind of interesting, and also begs the question of, like, well, I mean, how compatible are certain memory banks? Like, could you put an Astromech's memory bank in a battle droid, or vice versa, and it still operate fine? Or would it be, or is it the different software, hardware not going to mesh or something? So, I don't know. I think that could be kind of a funny joke that they could kind of weave into the background or whatever, and it's not really a in-your-face joke. It's more of a subtle thing. That could be cool. So yeah, I really think that's it for this episode. Tomorrow's episode is called Tribe. So that one, I feel like that one may potentially have... Oh, you know what? I think that one's got to do with the Wookiees. That one's probably got to do stuff with the Wookiees on Kashyyyk. So that's my guess for now. We'll see if I am correct. So yeah, so that will be it for this review. Thank you for watching. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, all that great stuff. Remember to follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Those links are in the description below. And I will see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.